So what's your purpose for being in the world? Why are you here? What's the meaning of life, as they say? Well, the simple answer to that question is to remember who you are, which is everything. You are one with God. But see, that is a very abstract, vague thing, because how do we do that? If you remember from my last video, so you, which is one with God, one with everything, no separation. So you split from yourself, trying to create without God, and that split created, because you were without your source, created complete terror, panic, and guilt, which made you go unconscious, which that unconsciousness then created the ego. And then from the ego, we find ourselves as separate fragments in the world, which is where we are now. So this is, let's call this our life path. And so the soul enters duality, the world. You have the positive and the negative poles of that duality, so fear and love. And so what does electricity going through a current? Electricity needs the positive and the negative in order to travel through the current. And so the soul is no different. So in order to find our way back to our true self, the soul, just like electricity, needs to travel through the different polarities, being fear and love, and swings from fear, love, and you're constantly being offered a choice, essentially. And the choice is always between fear and love, or the ego and the real self. And what we find in the world is that if we choose the ego, which is pretty much what we mostly choose in the world, it always leads to suffering. No doubt about it. You can make all the money in the world and think that money is going to bring you happiness, and eventually you'll find that it doesn't bring you any fulfillment whatsoever. It's empty. You can think that, or maybe a new career is going to bring me happiness, and it might for a little bit, and then you're empty and you want a new career, you want a new job, you're continuously chasing something new. You might think that, it's a new relationship or a relationship that I need that's going to finally bring me happiness. And of course, it doesn't. And so see, we're constantly choosing the fear side because we're thinking that, the things of the world, the ego, are going to bring us final happiness. And of course, sure, these things bring you temporary happiness, but that happiness ultimately doesn't last. And then you're left searching again. Even on the spiritual path, you're constantly searching, seeking. And see, this is the point. It's the different polarities. We're being pulled through, and we're being asked to choose love, to choose our real self. And the way that we do that is by going through life. And this could be one lifetime, or this could be multiple lifetimes. It really doesn't matter. The point is still the same. But we're asked to always choose love. But the only way that we can do that is by continuously being disillusioned, by choosing fear, by choosing the ego. And so that means by choosing anything in the world. And, the more that you choose something in the world, the more unhappiness you get, the more suffering you get, the more suffering that it brings. Because nothing of the world or of the ego can bring you lasting happiness. So when you are finally disillusioned with everything in the world of the ego, this is when you start to come to this side, and you choose love. And then obviously this still has its hold on it, so you're swinging. But once you've made that choice and you've realized that nothing over here, nothing of the world, nothing in the ego side has any lasting benefit, you're on the way home. And yeah, you're going to get pulled back into the ego, back into fear, sure, of course, but you've made that ultimate choice because you've realized that nothing over here has any value. And so once you've made that choice, then it's quick. And I wouldn't say it's easy, because there's some massive challenges from there on, but then you've made that choice. And boom, once you've made that choice, you've chosen love, that's it. You've found your way home, you've found your way back, and you've realized that, nothing of the world holds any value. And it doesn't mean that, once you've made that choice, it doesn't mean you don't still have relationships. You might still be married, have a family, have a career, all of that stuff, making money, doing whatever it is that you do. Like, it doesn't matter what you do from that point, but though that that your relationship isn't the source of your happiness. That your career isn't your identity. That your identity is love, is God. And so what you do over here from that point really is irrelevant, because you've made this choice, and you're still in the world, so you have to live in the world and survive in the world in the meantime. But once you've made that final choice, and once we make our departure from the world, that's it, because there's nothing left over here. There's no reason to come back again. There's no reason for any of it. There's no reason to experience any more suffering, because we've made the final choice. And this is the purpose of duality, is to make the choice for love, and to show us as well, to show us ourselves, because these things over here in the fear category are, if we go back to this diagram here, from when we made that initial choice to split from our source, and that split, because we separated from our source for the first time, created all this immense terror and guilt and self-hatred, really, because we split from our source, which is what created then the ego. And so it's by being in the world that we experience the effects of that choice, which is all of the, the fear, the guilt, everything that we experience in this world is a result of that initial choice to split from our source. So once we've experienced enough that choice and realized that choice was a terrible choice to split from our source, and there is no happiness away from our source, there is no happiness in separation, there's no love in separation, it's all fear and hatred in separation. And once we've fully experienced the effects of separation, we start to come back to love, we start to come back to ourselves, and this is the path of life, the path of duality. And really, it's actually a beautiful thing, because we get to experience the effects of our initial choice back here. So we went from that, everything, one with God, into splitting from God. That terror caused us to go unconscious, creating the ego, which then fragmented into, countless parts into the world. And so by experiencing the effects of that split in the world, we then get to realize that the choice that we made here was not a good choice. We can't survive without God. We can't survive without love. I mean, we can, but it's not fun. It's not fun to live in fear. It's not fun to live in suffering. And, once we fully have lived suffering and fully realize that there is nothing in being a separate identity, and there is no happiness in separation, there is no love being away from our source, being away from God. And once we've experienced that fully, we make the choice back to love, and that's it. We're on our way home, and there's no coming back. So, yeah, that's it. Have a good one.